Ready. So we've talked about case 1, case 2, case 3. 2 more we're going to cover today. One of them, like yesterday, you're only going to have to multiply in one of the equations. The last one, all right, case 5, you'll have to multiply in both of them. All right? Let's look back. So we talked about this in the warm-up. How many cases to solve systems have we covered so far this week? Huh? We've done 3 so far, right? Good. All right. So today, we're going to look at the last 2 cases. Case 4 and case 5. Right? Look at the final 2 today. Like I said, for case 4, you're only going to have to multiply in 1. For case 5, which is the hardest, it's at the bottom, all right, that's going to be, you have to multiply in both. That's as hard as it gets. All right? Let's review the first 3. You don't have to write these in your guided notes. You only have space on your guided notes to fill in case 4 and case 5. Like I said, at the end of class, you're going to get the big chart that's blank. You can go back in your notes and fill in all 5 cases. Right? Exactly how they're written in your notes. All right? Let's just go quickly over the first 3. All right? So case 1. All right? What am I going to look for in case 1? Someone tell me by raising their hand. What am I going to look for in case 1? Kyle, you think you know? The alignment. And all of them, we want to make sure they're lined up, right? What about case 1? Good. Same number, same letter, different sign. What do we do? If we have a case 1, it's already lined up for us, right? We got same number, same letter, different sign. I can eliminate right away. What do I do after that? Once I know I can eliminate. Liam? Add going which way? Up and down or across? Yeah, down, vertically, right? Good. So that covers case 1, right? Like Kyle said, same letter, same number, different sign. There's your example, and we'll add the remaining values vertically. Remember, the template for that is a little bit different. It's just got the 3 small little boxes that are all the same size. There won't be the little boxes that you have to fill in when you multiply. So if you're not sure what case it is, look at the template we're giving you. That's a little hint too. All right? How about case 2? Anybody remember case 2? Nini? Both values have to be alone. X and Y, or they're going to be the what? X and X, Y and Y. They have to be the same. All right? So the same single variable in both equations. All right? I see that. What do I have to do? If I have a single X and X or a Y and Y in both equations, what do I do once I recognize that to solve? Huh? Multiply by -1. Good. So that's case 2. Same positive single variable in both equations. We'll multiply everything in the equation by -1. Top or bottom, it does not matter. What happens to the signs when I do that? Antonio, what happens to the signs when I do that? When I multiply by -1?
They are opposite.
Opposite. Good. You're my expert on that. You're not texting, are you?
No, sir.
You sure? Okay, buddy. Good. Third case. Then we'll be done a review of these. What's the third case? Third case. What do we have? What do we see? What are we looking for? Maggie?
Single variable in 1 equation.
Single variable in 1 equation only. All right? Shannon talked about this one a little bit earlier. When I have a single variable in 1 equation, what do I need to do to be able to solve by elimination? Anybody remember? I got to go back and look at that other equation, either on the top or on the bottom. What do I have to do? Go ahead, Shannon.
You make it the opposite.
Yeah, opposite of whatever is attached to that single variable in the other equation. That's what I'm going to multiply by. All right? Multiply the equation with the single variable by the opposite of what's attached to that variable in the other equation. Like this, if I'm looking at this one here, I would multiply the bottom by -5. Because x is single, 5 is attached to x in the top one. Opposite of +5 is a -5. Right? Then that would eliminate. Right? Step 4 and 5, you only have this part here, this bottom part, on your guided notes. right, just to save some space. We had enough space to write everything in, all right? We're gonna look at the last two cases today, right? The last two cases to solve by elimination, all right? All right? Case number 4. Here's what we're gonna look for. You're gonna have number with the smaller variable. You can take that number and it can be multiplied to get the number with the larger variable. And when I show you the example, that'll make sense. All right? So the number with the smaller variable, you can multiply that by a number and it will give you the number with the, this should say larger. All right, so the number with the smaller variable can be multiplied by a number that will give you the larger variable. And like I said, when we go over the, when I show you guys the example, it'll make more sense. All right? And again, in this one, just like step 2, just like step 3, we're only multiplying in one equation in this one. We're still only multiplying in one equation only. All right? So number with the smaller can be multiplied to get the number with the larger. I'll look at both. I'll look at the x's first. So now I've gone through the first 3 cases, and my problem fits none of the criteria. There's nothing there. I can't do anything for case 1, case 2, case 3. Now I'm on case 4. All right, I'm going through each case to see which fits. All right, here's my example. 2x plus 5y equals 3. Or, on my bottom equation, 4x plus 3y equals 7. Right, so 2x plus 5y equals 3 on the top. 4x plus 3y equals 7 on the bottom. What are the numbers? Someone tell me, what are the numbers with my x's? What are the numbers attached to my x's? 2 and 4, good. And what are the numbers attached to my y's? 5 and 3. In those 2 pairs, is there a smaller variable that can be multiplied to get a larger variable? Vanessa? The 2x, right? I can multiply this equation, I can multiply 2x by something that'll give me 4x. What number would I multiply by to get 4x? 2. Very good. But I got to make sure that'll give me same number, same letter, same variable. I need one thing to be different. So what am I going to multiply that top equation by? -2. I got to make sure I get that, so I multiply that by -2. All right? What to do? We just talked about that. Multiply the number with the smaller variable by a number that will make it opposite of the number with the larger variable. And we just talked about that, right? Now, we could see it visually first. Now we're writing down what to do as the what to do explanation. We figured out that we can multiply 2 by something to get 4. The smaller number, we can multiply it by something to get the larger number. We want it to be opposite, so we multiplied it by -2. And again, we'll talk about once we recognize what case it is, all right, we're going to talk about the steps just like we did yesterday. But we're not going to have to write the steps in on our chart. Max, what do you need?
Sorry, I just can't see that.
It says multiply the number with the smaller variable by a number that makes it opposite of the number with the larger variable. The smaller one, it can be multiplied by something to give you the larger one. Like, because 3 is the smaller with the y's, there's nothing I can multiply 3 by to give me 5. When I add, I'm not just saying 3 plus 2 is 5, we're multiplying. That wouldn't work, because 3 times 2 is 6. So that wouldn't work. Right? So that's case 4. All right? Case 5, the last case. All right? So at this point, you're looking at the equation, and it fits the criteria for none of the above. There's no case 1. There's no same letter, same number, different sign, all set up for you, ready to go. There's no same single variable in either of them. There's no single variable in one. There's no number with a smaller variable that can be multiplied to get the larger variable. So now you're at the last spot, which is the most difficult because it's more work. I'm not saying it's harder, it's just a little bit more work than what we've done so far. So now, you're going to have to multiply in both equations. Right? So you've gone through case by case by case by case. It fits none of the criteria for any of those cases. We're going to get, here's an example, 3x plus 5y equals 4. That's your top equation. Bottom equation, 4x plus 2y equals 10. And guys, this is the most, as far as writing today, this is going to be all the writing that we'll do. The rest is just going to be examples. All right? We're going to talk about the steps to solve, but we're not going to write them down because you guys already did them yesterday. They're going to be pretty much the same steps. All right? So here's our example. All right? All right? There's none of the criteria. There's 3. I can't multiply 3 by something to get 4. I can't multiply 2 by something to get 5. Doesn't fit any of the criteria. So, little wordy. We're going to choose the smaller pair of variables. So what are my x's? What are my x's? What are they? What are the numbers? 3x and 4x. That's the pair of x's. What about my y's? 5y and 2y. Which pair is smaller? Or more like closer together? 3 and 4, right? So that would be what I would look at. Oops. I'd look at 3 and 4. Whatever. Well, it helps if you have the thing on. There we go.
So you don't want to use the 5 and 2 because they're a smaller pair? They're 10.
I say they're a little bit closer. It doesn't matter. If you guys want, if you think 5 and 2, you can use that as well. Doesn't matter. If we get to this point, either way is correct. All right? You're going to multiply each equation by the number attached to that variable in the other equation. So I look at 3, right? 3's with x. What's with x in the other equation? Here 3's with x. What's with x in the other equation? 4. I would multiply the top by 4. In the bottom, 4 is attached to x. What's with x in the other equation? What's with x in the top equation? 3. All right? And then we got to make sure, sometimes there might already be an opposite sign there. We might say, okay, it might be negative 3x and positive 4x. This one, we don't have that. So we have to make sure, we're going to have to make sure one of them is negative. It doesn't matter which one. I might pick 3 because 3 is a smaller number. If you give the negative to the 4, you're not wrong. So if both pairs of variables that you're using, they're both positive, make sure when you multiply one of the equations by a negative number. Make sure you make it negative. So this is tough. This is the most work you're going to get because you have to multiply on both equations. All right? I'll leave this up here and people are still copying. The template, it's going to be exactly the same as the one we used yesterday. Remember the one we used on Monday was just 3 little boxes going across. They were all the same size. When we use this one, the middle one's a little bit bigger. All right? So the template's going to be exactly the same for what we use for case 2 and 3. All right? Am I good? Si, am I okay?
Almost done.
Almost done. All right? So all the examples that we do today will be either case 4 or case 5. Homework tonight, reference sheet, that's gonna be all cases. You have to look at your chart and see which case it is to be able to solve. Right, because it's obviously a review for the test. The test is gonna have every type of case on. Right, it'll be all of them. All right, Si, am I good?
Not the last, I'm almost done.
All right, I'm gonna move on, okay? If we have to come back, we'll come back. Okay? You can always grab it from somebody else too. Okay, good. Can I put those steps on here or no?
You did that.
You took them off? You cut them off. Guys, the steps that we did that we'll use are going to be exactly the same as yesterday. All right? Where we had the first thing we have to do is what? Make sure it's lined up, right? If it's not lined up, we're going to make sure we line it up. What's the second thing we have to do? After we decide, after we make sure it's lined up, all right, we've written it in the box for equation 1 and equation 2. What's the next thing we got to do? Figure out what case it is. All right, now we figure out what case it is. After we do that, what do we want to do? Huh? Identify which variable, all right, you want to eliminate. Is it going to be in the top equation? Is it going to be in the bottom equation? If you have to multiply, make sure you write the number you're multiplying by in the box. If it's case 5, you're writing a number in both boxes because you have to multiply in both equations. And then last thing is, all right, make sure you multiply everything by all 3 terms, even what's after the equal sign. Steps are exactly the same as yesterday. All right, so let's look at this one. All right, like I said, every one we do right now is either going to be case 4 or case 5. So let's look at this one. Is that going to be case 4 or is that going to be case 5?
5.
How many people say 4? People say that's going to be case 4. How many people say it's going to be case 5? The people that said it's case 4, I'm going to agree with you. All right? Vanessa, why is it case 4?
Because you can multiply 3 times 6.
Exactly. Look at the smaller ones. 3 smaller than 6, 2 smaller than 7. 3 can go into 6 evenly, right? We can do this. Another we can multiply 3 by to get 6. Okay? So now we've identified, it's lined up, we've identified the case. All right? Which variable are we going to eliminate? Which variable are we going to eliminate? X or Y? X. Good. Are we going to multiply in the top or in the bottom? Which one has the smaller variable for x's? The bottom one. So we're going to multiply the bottom to eliminate x. All right. I'm going to break these down and write them in. 6x minus 2y equals -8. 3x plus 7y equals 4. We said we're multiplying the bottom one. What number are we going to multiply the bottom equation by to eliminate the x's?
2.
If I multiply it by 2, I'm -2. Very good. All right, -2 because we want same number, same letter, and different sign. I didn't do anything to the top equation. What does that mean? Just bring it over, right? All I'm going to do is take it and rewrite it in the middle box. When I multiply this, make sure I multiply it to all 3 things. Someone tell me that what I get when I multiply -2 by all 3 terms. Anybody know? Emily?
-6x.
Yeah.
-14y
Excellent.
equals -8.
Very good. Perfect. All right. What variable are we eliminating again? What can I do? Cross out the x's, right? What happens with the y's? What do I get when I add them? -16y. Remember, we're not multiplying. We're not dividing. Jordy, you're taking these notes down, right? You're not doing OSHA or whatever, right? Okay, so if I come back there, I'm going to see everything I've written down so far written down, right? I don't understand why you have a Chromebook on your desk. I guess I'm confused. All right? So remember, I'm not multiplying or dividing. I'm adding. The signs are the same. Keep the sign, add the numbers together. What am I going to get over here with the numbers? -8, -8. Negative 16. Keep the sign, add them together. If you're not sure, negative 8 minus 8 on your calculator. That'll give you the answer as well. Yeah, we're not multiplying.
Oh,
Sabrina, what am I going to do now?
By
By what number?
-6.
Now, I'm going to get y. Now I'm dividing. So what am I going to get for an answer? Yeah, because I'm dividing two negatives. Now I'll get the positive. Not what I'm adding. Y equals 1. Emma, top or bottom?
I use bottom.
You want to use the bottom? That's fine. You're not wrong in either one you use. All right? If it were me personally, I might use the top one because the number attached to y is smaller. 2 is smaller than 7. But it doesn't matter. You're multiplying by 1 anyways. You should know that. 3x plus 7y equals 4. What do I need to do? What's happening? Plug in the 1 for y. That'll make my new equation 3x plus 7 parentheses 1 equals 4. I'm just taking this and I'm plugging it in. That's all I'm doing. What am I going to do now? What do I get when I multiply? Yeah, I did 7 times 1. 4. Subtract 7y from both sides. I want to get 3x by itself. So I'm going to I'll move it down here. 3x equals 4 minus 7. Negative 3. If you're not sure, do it on your calculator. Negative 3. Last step. Divide by what number, Jordan? 3. Very good. I got a negative divided by a positive. Negative. Negative what number? 1. X equals negative 1. So still not too bad because we only had to multiply in one of the equations. Just 1. All right? So similar to what we did yesterday, but we just didn't have that single variable. All right? Take it, Mr. Hager. Good job.
That sounded like it hurt.
Matt didn't hurt. He's tough.
All right, so let's look at this one. What do you think? Is this going to be case 4 or case 5? Okay, the hint is if you only have to multiply in one equation, it's case 4. If you've got to do both, it's case 5. Right, that's the big difference. Yep. Yeah, this one looks like it's case 5. I can't multiply 4 by anything to get 5. Okay? I can't multiply 2 by anything to get 3 without using fractions. Okay? So now we've got to do case 5. So we're going to multiply both equations. So, what letter do we want to try to eliminate? You can pick either x or y. Okay, I heard. Yeah, if you multiply the x's, you're going to get 20. So that's a bigger number. If you do it with the y's, that's a smaller number. So I would do the y's. All right. What's the number in front of the y in the top equation? Negative 3. And in the bottom equation? And negative 2. So we got to think of a number that we can, that basically 3 and 2 both divide into. That's why this one's the hardest one. Can anybody think of a number you can multiply 3 by and then multiply a number 2 by and get the same thing? 6. Yeah, you're just basically multiplying each equation by the other number. That's the easiest way to remember it. And you guys said 6. So the only thing we have to make sure of is once we make those y's both 6s, we want one of them to be negative, and we want one of them to be positive, right? So they cancel out. So just multiply each equation by the other number. Are they already lined up?
yeah.
Okay, so I can copy them down. 4x minus 3y equals 8. 5x minus 2y equals negative 11. All right, so can somebody tell me what I should multiply the top equation by? And remember, we're trying to eliminate y. Well, what are we trying to make this number in front of y? right now? 6 or what else? Or negative 6. You have a choice. Once you pick, then the second one, you don't have a choice. So do you want to make this top y a 6 or a negative 6? All right, so what would you multiply it by to make it a negative 6? 2. Okay, so we're going to multiply 2 to everything. Antonio, can you tell me what you get when you multiply everything by 2 in the top?
You get negative 6.
Yeah, everything first.
Oh.
Yeah.
Negative 6 again.
So 2 times 4x,
Just negative 8. Oh, it's further 2? Oh, 8.
positive 8. And then 2 times negative 3y,
Negative 6. Y.
6y, equals
16.
16. Okay, so now that we chose to make the top y a negative 6, we have to make the bottom y positive 6. So I already know what I want to put right there. It's got to be a positive 6y or they're not going to cancel out. What would I put in this box?
Negative 3.
Perfect. Negative 3. And now multiply that out to each thing. Okay, so when it says here, multiply top or bottom, I didn't circle one because we can circle both. We did both. Okay, and we're eliminating y. Okay, so Natalie, what's negative 3 times 5x? Yeah, negative 15x. Kaylee, what's negative 3 times negative 2? 6. That's the plus 6y we already knew we wanted to get. And the last one is negative 3 times negative 11. Oh, Vanessa?
33.
33. Okay, so what letter there can we cross out? Well, the letter with it,
Y.
the y's. Cross all that out. And what do we do with what's left? Add it up. Okay, we have 8 plus negative 15. It's basically like doing 8 take away 15. Yep. That's negative 7x. And then 16 and 33. We could just do it in columns. What's 6 and 3?
9.
Gives me 9. And 1 and 3 gives me 4. Okay, on the test, that's how all the answers are going to come out. You're going to have no decimals, no fractions. And Trenton, what's my last step? By?
Negative 7.
Just the 7. Just the negative 7. Yeah. So the negatives and the 7 is gone. And what's 49 divided by negative 7? Careful, it's a positive divided by a negative. So it's going to be negative. Someone just said it. Antonio?
7.
7. 49 divided by negative 7, negative 7. Okay, now same thing as the last one. Pick which equation we want to go back to, top or bottom? Bottom? Okay. Again, that's fine. We're going to have to multiply by 5 instead of 4, but that's not really a huge difference. So we got 5x minus 2y equals, what is that, negative 11. All right, Maggie, what letter am I going to fill in for in this equation? X, and what are you going to fill in for x? Negative 7. Was that Jordan? Nice job. Negative 7. What's 5 times negative 7? Negative 35. All right, we got to move that negative 35 to the other side. So we're going to add it. Add 35. Okay, and if you need your calculator, you can use it. Negative 11 plus 35 gives me 24. Okay, so we got negative 2y equals 24. Now my last step, we want to get y by itself. Okay, so what's our last step, Vanessa?
You're gonna divide by 2. Negative.
-2. Yep, whatever's in front of y, that's what you divide by. And what's 24 divided by -2? What kind of number?
Negative.
Definitely a negative. And it's a 12. -12. Okay, so that's the hardest case. If you can do that one, there's nothing any harder on the test than that problem, and there's only one of those on the test. Yes?
Yes. I don't know, how many problems is
The test is 6 and a word problem.
And I have a question, how many are from case 1?
I think there's a couple from case 1, and then everything else is cases 3 through 5. Yeah. Okay, does anyone have any other questions on example 2?
Wait, what, case is it?
This was case 5. I didn't write that in, sorry. Case 5.
So as hard as it gets.
So, in terms of what I'm going to grade on the test, there's 4 things I'm going to grade in every problem. The first thing would be that equation and that equation. So I'm looking, did you get something after you multiplied that's opposites? And even when you do this, I'm going to look for it every possible way. If you want to get the y's to be opposite, I'll check that. If you want to get the x's to be opposite, I'll check that. Okay, whichever way you did it, I can check both ways. And then I'm going to check, did you get x and did you get y? So even though there's only 7 problems on the test, each problem has 4 parts. So this is like 4 problems on the test right here. Okay? Any questions on that? All right, let's, you want to do the word problem first and come back to this one?
Problem first, Mr. Hager.
All right, so this is similar to what the word problem is going to, it's going to be like on the test. Okay, there's one word problem. Okay, and the word problem is not going to be a case 5 problem. Okay, it's going to be easier than case 5. Okay. When we have a word problem, what's the first thing you always have to do? Before, yeah, you got to read it. And then after you read it, we're trying to set up what? Equation. What's going to go into those equations? Letters. Okay, if you want to use x and y, you can. For this problem, what could you use for Harry? H. You could, as long as you remember which one is which. And what about Jim? J. Okay, look at this first equation. Harry is. How would you write Harry is? Harry equals. Harry is 15 years older than Jim. So how would you write 15 years older? I heard 15 plus J or J plus 15. They're both correct. Okay. And that's going to, well, that's our first equation. Okay. Any questions on that?
And guys, remember, this is not going to be like last week, right? Remember, like in 5 years or 10 years ago, it's not going to be like that. You don't have to. That's why we don't have the big chart on it like we did last week. You're not going to have to do that with this. There's no in 5 years, 15 years ago. There's none of that. It's
Yep.
all in the
It's
present.
a lot easier problem. So Harry is 15 years older than Jim. Any questions on that one? What if it said Harry is 15 years younger than Jim? What would it be? Which order? Right. If it said younger, you always put the person first and then the number that they're younger after.
Well, can we make it negative for 2 plus?
Yep, you could also do negative 15 plus J. Yep. All right, the second sentence. The sum. Okay, what does sum mean? What operation?
Equals.
Add. The sum of their ages. Whose ages? Who are we adding?
Harry and
Harry and Jim.
The sum of their ages is. What does is mean? What is the sum? 37. Okay, there's the second equation.
Yeah, so
Now-
when it says the sum of their ages, is take whatever letters you use and represent their ages, let's put a plus sign between them, and it's gonna equal whatever the sum of their ages is.
Does either one of these equations look like the type we've been doing? It's already kind of in the right format.
One of them, the bottom one.
The bottom one, right? Letter, letter, number. It's just not X and Y. So the top one, we need to fix it. What would we have to do to fix the top equation? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it over here so I can do it. Is that? Can you write it? Sure, go ahead.
Now, Sarah, remember, it doesn't have to be perfect.
No. And then wouldn't I do?
Well, keep in mind, we're trying to make it look like this. So what does this equation have by itself on the right?
Oh.
So we can, the number is okay on the right.
So wouldn't it be J? Like minus J?
Yes, minus J.
And then that would turn into. Minus J
Yep,
equals 15.
excellent, very good. Thank you. Nice job.
No problem.
Okay, so here's your second equation rewritten. Why didn't I take the equations and just write them on the blue lines right away? What was incorrect about them? They weren't what? They weren't lined up. Okay? Don't put anything in these boxes unless it's lined up. Okay? So
Does it matter which was the first equation?
it doesn't matter which one is the first and the second, no.
Doesn't matter how you do it.
So for equation 1, I'm going to put h minus j equals 15. Equation 2, somebody tell me what equation 2 is. H plus j equals 37. Which case is this one?
Case one.
Case 1 is the easiest case you could have. Look what happens. Same letter, same number, opposite signs. If you want to put a 1 in front of the j's to see the number that's the same, that's what it is. It's a 1. Okay, so am I going to multiply the top equation by anything? Nope, it's case 1. How about the bottom equation? Nope, case 1. So we didn't multiply top or bottom. We don't need to. So what does that mean I'm going to do with both of these? Just do what? Just move them over. Okay, we don't need to change anything. Okay, before I do it, somebody tell me what letter is going to disappear. The J. Negative J? Positive J. That's gone. Okay, add up what's left. How many, Derek, how many H's are we going to have when we add up 1H plus 1H? 2H. Okay, how about 15 plus 37? 50 what? 52. Last step, and we're going to know Harry's age. By 2. How old is Harry? What's half of 52? 20 what? 26. Okay, are we done?
No.
What's the last thing we have to find? We have to,
Harry's age. Jim's age.
we got Harry's age. We're gonna get Jim. Okay, Ashley, can you explain to me how I get Jim's age? What do I do?
So you get either problem.
Either problem, doesn't matter.
I want to
Okay,
And so you're putting the age with the answer, so you put 26 plus J equals 36.
so she picked the second one. She's gonna plug in 26 for Harry. And I like the one that she picked because, look at Jim's age, it has a positive 1 in front of it. That saves you a step. J's already by itself, we just moved the 26. How do we move the 26? Minus. So how old is Jim? 11.
He's 11.
Okay,
Those names, like,
I know.
yeah.
I
the
know.
names?
Yeah, like the names.
It's like Jim doesn't sound like a little kid's name, or like
Yeah, they should be
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Then it would be good.
Mr. Wright, do you want to do the last one?
Guys, let's go back
Or
to,
it's like
guys, do we think,
balls like no. It's like,
listen to me,
what?
do you think we need to do this one? How many people think we have to do it?
No.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna do this one. So for the time you have left, you're gonna have over 10 minutes. I'm gonna give you
Do it, actually, never mind, do it.
I'm gonna give you the chart with all the blank cases on there. Go back in your notes and write them in. All right? Go back in your notes and write them in. Guys, homework tonight. You're not gonna have to print it off. All right, Mr. Hager and we have it for you guys. We don't know how much time we're gonna have at the end of the class. We wanna make sure you guys got that. If you lose it for some reason, all right, it's on Google Classroom. We posted it on there. Next thing. Remember, class tomorrow. First half, we're probably gonna do like 2 or 3 review problems. You guys will get the templates for them. You can work on them on your own. When we get to around 2 o'clock, that's when we'll hand out the test. We're not gonna give you the whole test. We're gonna give you maybe the first 4 questions, all right? We'll do like the first 4 questions tomorrow, and then on homework tomorrow will be an MCAS question. It'll be a word problem that you'll solve with elimination. So something like we've done all week. Friday, review the MCAS question, okay? At the beginning, we're just gonna put the answer up on the board. You guys are gonna grade it, put it into Google like we did last week. All right, we're not gonna have to go over everything step by step. The answers will be on the smart board. All right? Remember, grades close on Friday. For some reason, for the part of the test we give you tomorrow, if in the time we give you, you finish the first part, we'll give you the second part. If you finish that, you finish the whole thing tomorrow, then what will happen is on Friday, if you have anything you need to make up, you can do that. Remember, those people that Mr. Hager mentioned yesterday, make sure you make arrangements to get your test made up. All right, we need them by Friday. I'm after school today. Mr. Hager will be after school tomorrow. I'm also before school across from Cosmo every morning in room 222.